Hello and welcome. I'm Wolfgang Riebe, and you and I are going to be spending quite a few hours together with me teaching you tips and tricks and the ins and outs of the professional speaking industry. But before we even start, who am I? What qualifies me to stand here and speak to you? Well, for more years than I would like to acknowledge, I've been in the speaking business, and I've traveled to over 140 countries on this earth. So that when it comes to an international speaker who's seen the world and spoken in many countries, that's me. Last year, I finished a tour in Iran, which was unbelievable. What an experience. I've spoken in the States, the UK, Germany, Singapore, Iceland, Vietnam, Mauritius, South Africa, you name it, even in the Arctic on an expedition liner, all over the world. My career has been awesome. It's been a phenomenal experience. You can do this too, with the tips and the tricks I'm going to be sharing with you. Recently, in 2012, the National Speakers Association awarded me the CSP designation, Certified Speaking Professional, which at the time only about 700 professional speakers on this earth have. So that's also an indication of that I've been around. That gives you kind of my background. I've written the books, etc., etc. For me, it's not about talking about what I've done. It's about taking my experiences and sharing them with you so that you can grow quickly and find your niche. Now, before we even begin, there's one item that's number one to me that is more important than anything else I'm going to talk about, and this I want to start with, and that is authenticity. Being yourself. Nothing is more important than that. When I started speaking, there were a handful of speakers. And I'll never forget, I come from the entertainment industry. I started as an entertainer, working on cruise ships around venues in the world, and I specialize in the corporate market. And being a social animal, someone that loves networking, the CEOs, the managers would speak to me afterwards and they'd ask about my life. And they'd go, wow, you have such a fantastic life. You've been all over. Why don't you become a motivational speaker? And I was like, no. Because to me, motivational speakers were these evangelists that make you stand on chairs and go, yeah, clap, clap, and all this kind of stuff. And this was genuine. This was a 3-day high. Afterwards, you walk away and there's nothing left. And this was the big thing for me. If I were to speak, I would speak from here, from the heart. I would speak about something that means something to me, something which I've been through myself so that I can connect with my audience. And most importantly, I want the audience to walk away with a skill they can utilize that lasts a lifetime. That was quite a challenge. And when I started, all this, what I call rah stuff was in. Nobody wanted to book me. We don't want to hear your story. Even though I said to them, it's not my story, I'm just relating it to the people. And a few years later, after the big recession, the so-called recession, everybody wanted more value. They wanted measurable quantities. They wanted sustainability in what they were doing. They wanted a return on investment. And here I came along, well, why don't we try it like this? And suddenly I started becoming popular and all the other guys started disappearing. Interesting. That is why, to this day, authenticity is important to me. You have to be passionate about speaking. It doesn't help that there are a million new speakers on the circuit. What are they actually giving to the industry? What are they doing? Are they in the business because they think it's a quick buck and it's easy and it's a great status symbol and I'm going to be important because people are going to fly me around the world, I'll stay in 5-star hotels? Is that what speaking is about to you? If it is, put this whole course off and throw it away, because then you're wrong for becoming a professional speaker. Speaking to me, this is my opinion, it's got to be a passion. It's got to come from your heart. When you walk onto that stage, people must see that you radiate a sincerity and a humility and a love that's going to make them listen to you. I attended a speakers convention last year. 3 speakers at this convention were speaking on authenticity, and not one was. That's kind of sad, huh? When people ask me about my life, what I do, I used to say, I've never worked a day in my life. That was actually wrong. I've worked damn hard. In fact, I've worked harder than anybody else I know. But it's never felt like work to me because it's a passion. I love what I do. Why do you want to become a speaker? For the status? For the money? Or because it's a calling? Look at the ministry today. How many theologians do you know where it is actually the calling, that actually walk their talk? I was the national president of a speakers association for 2 years. The majority of the members did not walk the talk. They were not genuine. That was my biggest disappointment in this industry. The biggest plus factor for me is traveling around the world, speaking at various conventions and attending speaker functions. I have met some awesome people, but I'm honestly standing here and telling you that the majority aren't that great. But it's that handful that are genuine. Those are the ones that are changing the world. Those are the ones that after 20, 30 years are still working. Those are the ones that are getting booked all over. Those are the ones that are delivering a service to the world and the people they speak to. This is what we need. We don't need the fly-by-night speakers that every time there's a recession or something goes wrong, they disappear into another career. We need the people in this profession that speak from the heart, that walk the talk. No matter where you see me, when you see me, whatever I preach about in my seminars, this is what I do in my life. And this is the most important thing. An audience is not stupid. They can see whether you're genuine or not. Now, I say this with utmost respect. There are many speakers out there that have just read some information, done a bit of research, and they basically regurgitate what others have said. And they do it extremely well. And if it works for them, great. Doesn't work for me. If I want to change your life, if I want to connect with you, and I want you to move forward, being more positive, influencing you, training you, whatever, then I need to have done this myself. I need to have fallen on my face and tell you this so that you can laugh at me and see yourself in my shoes. And then I need to tell you how we can get over this. You see, if you haven't done something yourself, how can you tell someone else how to do it? There's always that criticism when students come out of a university versus out of a technical school. The technical guys have got more experience. The university people only have the academic knowledge. They need people with experience. That's this debate that goes around and always will, most probably. But as a speaker, to me, it's about experience. Yes, I might have won the local Toastmasters championships and I'm a really good speaker, but is there something behind it? Am I going out then as a comedian, as an after dinner speaker, or am I going out as a trainer, inspirational speaker? For me, the focus is on changing the world, one presentation at a time, even one person at a time. For me, it's about connecting with my audience and making the world a better place to live. I come from the entertainment background, and that's a different section. That's different stuff. But when I speak to make a positive change because it means something to me, because I live my life like it. I have certain ethical values that I live by, and these are the things I bring across in my seminars. When you can start doing that, when you can speak from the heart, then you can make a difference. Now, I'm going to speak on various topics, and I'm probably going to repeat myself often. But people always want to know, how do you speak? Is there a certain approach? Is there a way you stand? You do not put your hands in your pockets? How do you do this? You see, if you want to learn to speak, you've never spoken before, I'd strongly recommend Toastmasters. It's a worldwide organization, and believe me, they'll teach you, they'll show you all the avenues of speaking. They are fantastic, brilliant organization to join. If you come to me and want to learn how to speak, I'm going to teach you a little bit differently. I'm going to say to you, it doesn't matter whether you stand with your hand in your pocket. It doesn't matter if you look down or up, if you look there. There are so many technical things that speakers learn to speak. They only concentrate on the technical stuff, which messes up the personality and the presence on stage. To me, it's about you being comfortable with who you are. So first of all, the most important thing as a speaker is be honest with yourself. What is it that makes me tick? Find that answer first. And then you start speaking. Because if I speak about what makes me tick, I'm already comfortable. I don't have to worry about where my hands are, what I'm doing, how I'm standing. It's interesting when you watch two people having a discussion one-on-one at a social function. They connect on quite a good level. It's very casual. I always say when you're on stage, speak like you're speaking one-to-one. But speak one-to-one with 1,000 people sitting down there. Because if you can speak at that relaxed communicative level, that intense level, that authentic level, then you're starting to communicate. So the core, the essence of this first bit of information is be authentic. Be honest with yourself, find out what makes yourself tick, and then you start speaking about that. Because as soon as I speak about stuff I know and I'm comfortable with and I believe in intensely, I start radiating a different energy, a different warmth, and people can pick up the sincerity in me. For me, it's not important that people come up to me afterwards and go, "Oh, you were awesome, you were great, and your presence." No. The best compliment I can get is if someone says to me, "We saw that you had fun on stage." Because if they saw it, then I know my fun rubbed off on them and I connected with them. So the core issue for me when becoming a professional speaker is do so with authenticity. I was speaking in Holland at a speakers conference recently, and a friend of mine had an awesome saying. He said, "When you're younger, you're a go-getter, and when you're older, you become a go-giver." Isn't that awesome? Maybe that's why I'm doing this course. It's time to give back. When you're older, you see things from a different perspective. I look at speakers today. You get the Olympic medalist winners, and what an achievement. They should be honored. It is awesome. They go out and they speak about this. They take over the keynote market. But only until the next Olympics, because then there's another gold medalist. How long can they sustain that topic and that talk? Unless they're really acute business people, it becomes very difficult. You as a speaker, have you just got a sudden fame story, or have you got something that's going to last for the next 10, 20, 30 years? That should be your goal. When you're authentic and when you connect, that makes a difference. You see, to me, the speaker or the chap, the businessman that started a tire shop around the corner, fitting new tires, and over a period of, let's say, 5 or 10 years, has built up an international or even a national company that's become huge. There's a success story from rags to riches, but that's a normal person that has gone out there and achieved huge success. That person, because they've done it all as well and have quite a lot of experience, have got also a lot of ups and downs, has a lot of interesting information to share. Plus there's authenticity behind that story. That to me is more marketable and more usable in the long term than anything else. That is, of course, just my opinion, but it gives you an idea of where I'm coming from. Let me put it into another perspective for you. In our job, we live on aeroplanes. I actually have a talk entitled Customer Service in the Hospitality Industry, which is hotels, aeroplanes, travel industry. I take photos of everything, and because I started my career as a comedy magician, I actually have photos of magic and tragic service, good and bad service. And believe me, nowhere is holy. Now, this talk will only relate to high-end travel people. The only reason I do it is because I've collected all this information and it's kind of a little niche market. It's not a very big market, but it's a small niche market for me. This I do over and above what I do for the mass market, so to say. But this talk, if the normal person out there who's never been on a plane or maybe been on a plane once, hears me complaining about the size of a seat or the distance between me and the next seat, or the fact that I'm getting a full yogurt in business class but it's divided in half and put in 2 different bowls because they're cutting costs. The normal person in the street's going to go, "What are you on? It doesn't mean anything to me. It's a specialist niche market." For some people, the fact that I've traveled, they cannot relate to it. No matter what I say, even if I say, "Follow your dreams. If you do, you can see the world like me." It's untouchable for people. But if I say, "You know what? You want that car. This is how I worked to getting my first car. These are the things that worked for me. This is the systems I put in place. These are the things I saw. This is how I wrote down my goals. This is how I visualized it. And you can do it too by doing these things." Then people start connecting. Then you can change lives and you can be real. But you must have done it yourself. Also understand your audience. That's all part of keeping it real. Saying this, I don't mean you cannot use unique experiences. Oh, there's some very different things that you can use. I, in 97, nearly died on an expedition in the Arctic. Now, I think about that many people on earth have been to the Arctic. Nobody's going to relate to that. But I look at my audience and I go, okay, they're moaning about all the small things. The politicians are irritating them, the corporate structures, the hierarchy system, the next division head is annoying them. They've got problems in their family. They're getting annoyed about all sorts of stuff. They're fretting the small stuff. Now I stand and go, people, I used to be like that too. It happens, it's normal, things annoy me. But you know what makes me just take a step back, count to 10, and actually appreciate what I do have is, let me tell you about this. And I take them through this experience of me nearly dying in the Arctic, where we actually said goodbye to each other and we were in minus 40 degrees. And I tell the people what went through my mind. I connect with them on that level. I actually bare my soul to them. I open myself up. My short, quick tip videos that I have on the internet. In the beginning, I used to talk about general stuff. I had a dad that went through cancer. I went and spent time with my father. I went and had fun with him for a week. I didn't know how long he was still going to live. While he was still healthy, I went out where he was brought up. I had him cry with me. We'd go out to dinner. I made a point of doing that. I've heard too many people that have said, I've had somebody die in my life and I regret not spending more time with them. I actually took that knowledge and went, you know what, I don't want that to happen with my dad. And I went out and I had the most amazing time with him. Now, by doing that, by describing my feelings, everybody has a mother and a father. Everybody can relate to that. I bare my soul. And I found that in my videos, as soon as I started bearing my soul and making myself real, man, did more people connect. When I speak live, as soon as I do that, people connect. You have ups and downs in your life. And when you start speaking from within here, it's actually very easy and not intentional that you do get a tear, that your audience cries with you. Or when you laugh, they laugh with you. You're on a different energy level. And when you talk from experience, my Arctic experience where we nearly died, I have, first of all, the photos to prove it. I can show it. I've been there. I've walked it. I can relate to it. There's nothing that's made up that I have to learn. So I'm focusing 100% at looking at my audience, connecting with them. Those are the things that count. Those are the things that make me real. If you want to be real, if you want to be a success, those are the kind of things you've got to look at. Relate to things and not, oh, my cat Diddles had a liver for breakfast. That's definitely not a story that's interesting. You've got to make it pertinent to the theme and the topic that's there, and it's got to be exciting. I just take, for example, sales topics. I've got a book on sales, on negotiation. I wrote it. I got all the information. Here, I'm being honest with you. I'm opening myself up. Got all the information. The book's done well. The seminar does well. When people wanted, I do it. But I made, and I'm honest here, the mistake of seeing an opportunity and writing something for that. I stand on that stage, I'm professional, I know how to handle my audience, and I make it work, and the people love it. But it's not the same as when I go and do my inspirational stuff and connect on a different level. And that bugs me. I'm honest with myself. That's not as good as this. Why not? Then suddenly I realize, but hang on, because you are regurgitating stuff that other people have written. You've gotten, you know what they say, when you copy from one, it's plagiarism. When you copy from different sources, it's research. That's academic for you, right? So what I did, I got all different sources, put it in my own words, and boom, basically put down an academic piece of paper. That's my book, and that's what I'm talking about. Doesn't work for me. Yes, the book is there to back up what I say. So suddenly, the lightning struck, and I went, but hang on, you've always preached, be authentic. Your main seminar, your keynote that you do is, why are you doing that? And I went, okay, let me change it. And then I started using personal experiences. Now let's give an example of sales, of a personal experience. The first time I was in Turkey, I was in a place called Kuşadası, which is where Ephesus is, the ruins of Ephesus, similar to Pompeii. And I'll never forget walking down the streets, this was back in the 80s. The Turkish guys in the shops, the leather shops, the carpet shops, very interesting. They don't sit in the shop waiting for you to come in. They're out in the street. Oi, where are you from? They pull you in. You see, your attention levels changed because I'm relating a personal story to you. But isn't that interesting? Also, as soon as they ask where you're from, you could be from anywhere in the world. These guys are educated enough to know most of the countries, the cultures in the world. They must probably say hello to you in your language. At the time, I just moved out of South Africa. Had a strong South African accent, stronger than now, right? And I said to the chap, I'm from Cape Town. And he went, I've been there, I've got photos. I have wine from Cape Town. I'm like, get a life, mate. I go into the shop to humor him. He takes out a photo album of him in Cape Town, has a bottle of Zonneblom Chardonnay, was a Chardonnay or Gewürztraminer up there, opens it, pours my wife and myself a bottle of wine. We're like looking at photos, she's connecting with us. As I take the last drop or the last sip of wine in the glass, it goes, I've got a jacket to show you. That's a sales story. That's sales. Now I've gotten your attention. This happened to me. I can relate to this man. He's still my friend today. I got to know Turkey through that guy. We connected. Anybody that ever goes, I go to that shop, go to him. You see the power of a story, making it interesting? Now suddenly I looked at sales and went, but hang on, I've got 3,000 other stories I can tell. I can connect. What was the message of that story? Is don't wait for people to come to you. Go out there and go and connect. Find out about your clientele, who they are, what makes them tick. Go and bring them to you. Don't wait for things to come to you, which most people do. You see how powerful a connection that is? What's the difference between that and anything else? It's real, it's my story, but I related it to a very common subject. So now I can connect with so many more people. That is what professional speaking is about. Similarly, it's no use me talking to people about getting over the past and being open to change if I haven't done that in my own life. If I want to tell you not to hate, to forgive, to live in the now, because that's the in thing to say. How can I say that if I've got issues with everything around me? I must have hated myself. I must be able to speak with that aggression, live the aggression I went through so that the audience can actually laugh at me going, oh my goodness, look at this man. But in the same sense, they must see themselves in me. That could be me too. And then tell them how I got over it, how I fell on my face, the lessons I learned, and this is what I did. Because now I'm connecting with them. Plus, I'm opening myself up. You see, that's what keeping it real is all about. I have met speakers on this earth that have spoken on a stage and kept it real, that have been phenomenal. It's just them, not even a PowerPoint behind them. It's just them, a spotlight, and they've kept an audience like this for 2 hours because they're connecting, they're keeping it real. You see, as soon as you can make the person out there relate emotionally to what you are saying, you're connecting at a level far deeper than anything else, and they will remember that message. And if you can add in the skill of what to do, how to cope, how to do it, how to improve, how to get over that, once you've connected at that emotional level, you're giving them life skills to walk away with which they can change their life. That was all about authenticity, keeping it real. I trust you understand this topic a little bit more and understand where I'm coming from. As soon as you start being real on the platform, you connect on a different level with your audience. That's the end of this topic. The next one is going to be identifying your USP, and I'll see you in that video.